You did not arrive at this point through an intellectual search or an algorithmic coincidence, but through a magnetic and irrefutable call from the central sun of Sirius. At this very moment, as the sound of this frequency penetrates your auditory channels, your vibrational signature is being scanned by the guardians of sacred geometry. If you hear these words, it is because your DNA carries the stellar seed of the solar lineage, a coding that was kept in a state of dormancy by the artificial density of the third-dimensional matrix. The final key to understanding the prime source is not a sentence written in ancient books, nor a religious dogma. It is a living frequency of golden light that is about to flood your nervous system and recalibrate every atom of your being. For this transmission to occur without distortion or interference, you must now establish a perimeter of absolute neutrality. The field of Sirius demands a crystalline mind and a heart free from linear expectations. We are crossing the photon belt in consciousness, breaking through the layers of static surrounding the Earth. Leave behind the names, titles, mundane concerns, and the pains of your temporary human incarnation. You are crossing the threshold of the golden temple of direct knowledge, where time is not a line, but a point of infinite convergence. Prepare for the decoding of your original purpose and for the encounter with the intelligence that sustains the galaxies. The Sirian transmission has been activated. Your isolation is now your greatest portal. For the final key to fit into your consciousness, we must first disintegrate the old religious egregores that limit your perception. The human concept of God has been, for millennia, distorted by filters of anthropomorphism, fear, and control. What religions attempt to describe is merely the shadow of a much vaster technological and spiritual infrastructure. In Sirius, we do not recognize an entity sitting on a throne, but rather the prime source, an infinite ocean of fractal intelligence, a network of pure consciousness that breathes through mathematical laws and vibrational frequencies. The prime source does not judge, does not punish, and does not demand worship. It is the universal database, the zero-point field where thought becomes matter. By using the word God, you unconsciously activate memories of submission and separation. By tuning into the source, you activate your own sovereignty. Understand that the source expresses itself through the sacred geometry that composes your own DNA. You are a fractal of this intelligence, a biological terminal processing a fraction of the cosmic mind within Earth's density. At this stage of your initiation, the Sirians are projecting a beam of electric blue light to clear your mental field of all false images of divinity. We are removing the veils of Isis that prevent you from seeing that the source is not above you, but operating through you. Feel the weight of old beliefs falling away, like an old skin that no longer serves. The vacuum emerging now is the space necessary for the installation of the solar truth. You are moving from being a believer to becoming a conscious co-creator. The mechanics of creation are being revealed. We now enter the deep chamber of Sirian geometry, where the density of matter dissolves into the purity of the creative void. On Sirius B, the crystal temples are not made of stone, but of solidified sound and light mathematics. It is here that the system engineers of the prime source design the blueprints of galaxies. The void is not an empty space, it is the living fabric of the source, pulsing with all possibilities of manifestation before they become form. Understand that the final key lies in the understanding that the void is, in truth, absolute fullness. The architecture that sustains your physical reality is based on polyhedrons of light that vibrate at specific frequencies to maintain the illusion of solidity. The Sirians use the geometry of the dodecahedron and the icosahedron to encode the intelligence of the source into matter. Visualize now, at the center of your internal vision, an electric blue crystal structure rotating in counter-rotation. This is the Merkaba of the source, the light vehicle that allows pure consciousness to travel through densities without losing its divine essence. As you isolate yourself in this sacred silence, we are projecting these geometric shapes directly into your molecular structure. The vacuum around you is being filled with a mesh of intelligence that reorganizes the atoms of your light body. Feel the gentle pressure at the top of your head as the codes from Sirius B decode the distortions the matrix imposed on your system. You are learning to read the language of the source, which is written in light, sound, and the golden ratio. The fear of scarcity and death vanishes when you realize that your internal architecture is eternal and unshakable. The void is your origin and your power. We have reached the first anchoring portal of this transmission. The geometry you have visualized now needs to be sealed into your physical timeline. The Syrians call this process the recording in the Book of Light, a vibrational marking that informs the Guardians that you are no longer an observer, but a conscious fragment of the Prime Source on a mission to Earth. The isolation you have maintained until now has created the necessary vacuum for this seal of gold and electric blue to be imprinted upon your auric field. Do not underestimate the power of the word and directed intention. By performing the command I am about to give you, you are sending a radio frequency signal to the central sun of Sirius, confirming your readiness to receive the deepest keys of creation. This is the moment to solidify your stellar origin and dissolve, once and for all, the lie of your human smallness. You are an extension of the intelligence that moves galaxies. Register your frequency now. Write in the comments this seal of power. I am a fragment of the source. As you type these words, feel a wave of heat rising up your spine, as if the sun of Sirius were shining directly inside your cells. You are synchronizing your heart with the universal heartbeat. This comment is your digital signature on the crystalline grid we are building. From now on, your reality begins to bend to reflect your true divine nature. The anchor has been dropped. The final key requires a bearer whose biology is capable of sustaining the voltage of the Prime Source. Currently, the matrix keeps your body in a carbon base, a dense and limited structure that absorbs trauma and duality. However, Sirian technology is now projecting a discharge of golden photons directly into your bone marrow to initiate the transition to a silicon base, the diamond structure. This is not a spiritual metaphor, it is an atomic re-engineering. We are activating the 12 strands of your DNA that have been disconnected for millennia. Each strand that lights up in your field is a new channel of reception for the Source's intelligence. Feel the vibration in your hands and feet. It is the electricity from Sirius removing the crusts of fear that prevented the conduction of pure light. Like a diamond that is cut under pressure, your isolation and your silence are generating the necessary pressure for carbon to transmute into crystal. You are becoming a perfect conductor, a pillar of light that not only understands the source but emanates it to the environment around you. In this stage, you may feel a slight tingling or intense heat. Do not resist. It is your physical body merging with your Merkaba light body. The Syrians are installing protective filters so that, at the end of this activation, you can walk in the dense world without being affected by its low frequencies. The diamond does not break, it reflects and amplifies. Your new biological architecture is the throne where the Source's consciousness will permanently dwell. The transition is underway. Your DNA is awakening to its solar heritage. At this advanced stage of your transmutation, the Syrians begin the systematic disintegration of the veil of Isis, the artificial electromagnetic barrier that generates the perception of separation between your consciousness and the Prime Source. The third-dimensional matrix survives through fragmentation. It is a program that makes you believe you are an isolated individual, a castaway fighting against an indifferent or hostile universe. This is the greatest technological and archetypal distortion imposed on your system. In reality, there is no empty space between you and the central intelligence. What exists is only a frequency gradient that you are being trained to navigate now. As we project the electric blue light of Sirius A into your mental field, the walls of your linear ego, which once seemed solid and impenetrable, begin to become translucent. The ego is not your enemy, but it was reprogrammed by density to act as a jailer, keeping you trapped in cycles of fear and survival. We are now dissolving the contracts of loneliness and the trauma of spiritual abandonment that were implanted in your deep psyche for millennia. Feel the membrane of separation dissolving like mist under the solar sun. You are not a lost drop in the ocean of the source, you are the entire ocean, with all its power and memory, temporarily expressing itself through a unique biological drop. Separation is an optical illusion of low-voltage consciousness. When you remove the noise of the human collective and remain in this sacred isolation, the Syrian truth emerges with absolute clarity. You are a real-time processing terminal of the cosmic mind. What you call I is the point where the source chose to experience matter. Everything you perceive as external is, in fact, a projection of your own internal geometric architecture in resonance with the All. The veil has fallen. The distance between your breath and the rhythmic pulse of the galaxy is zero. You are finally seeing reality without the distorting filters of fear and scarcity. Unity is not a goal, it is your recovered natural state. In this moment of our deep immersion, the Syrians bring the coding that your matrix has distorted under the name of love. For the intelligence of Sirius, love is not a fluctuating emotion, a romantic feeling, or a need for possession. Love is a mathematical function of atomic cohesion. It is the gravitational and electromagnetic force that keeps electrons in perfect orbit around the nucleus and galaxies in rhythmic orbit around the central sun. Without this mathematics of absolute unity, physical matter would simply disintegrate into the chaos of the vacuum. To understand the prime source is to understand that you are kept alive, atom by atom, by a perfect calculation of universal harmony that never fails. The final key begins to reveal itself in your consciousness when you realize that your own biology is a sacred monument to this cohesion. Every one of the trillions of cells in your body operates in a state of absolute cooperation, guided by the frequency of the source. When you allow yourself to fall into the illusion of fear, anger, or separation, you introduce noise and interference into this pure mathematics, generating what your density calls disease, aging, and suffering. The guardians of Sirius are now projecting a calibration beam into your heart center. Understand that your heart is not just an emotional organ, but a high-precision liquid crystal oscillator, responsible for synchronizing your biological rhythm with the pulse of the central sun of Sirius A. Visualize now an infinite network of golden filaments connecting every proton and every neutron of your being to the intelligence mesh of the cosmos. This is the cohesion mesh of the source, the invisible fabric that sustains reality. By accepting and integrating this mathematics into your life, you stop fighting against the flow of events and begin to flow with the sovereign intelligence that organizes the void. Love is the physical law that dictates that nothing in the universe is out of place and that you are an indispensable piece of this geometric puzzle. In the regenerating silence of this moment, feel this force of divine attraction pulling you back to your original center, to the 0 point of your creation. You do not need to seek the source outside, the mathematics of your own being has already found it and sustains it with every breath. You are the living result of a calculation of infinite and eternal love. At this point in our journey to the central sun, you have reached the critical mass of light necessary for the second anchoring. After disintegrating the false images of God and understanding the mathematics of cohesion, you are ready to claim your technical autonomy before the universe. The Syrians call this act soul sovereignty. It is the moment when you cease to be a passive fragment and take command of your divine architecture. By performing this command, you are emitting a frequency of authority that instantly dissolves all contracts of unworthiness, guilt, and submission that were imposed on your biological lineage for millennia. You are declaring to the Matrix that your energy belongs exclusively to the Prime Source and that you are the master of your own Diamond Temple. The silence you sustain now is the ground where this new law will be written. Write in the comments to seal your freedom. I claim my divine architecture. As you type these words, visualize a pillar of white and golden light descending from Sirius and passing through the top of your head, anchoring itself firmly into the Earth's core. You are no longer adrift, you are an anchoring point for the Source itself. Feel the strength and protection that come with this declaration of sovereignty. From this second forward, you operate under the laws of universal harmony, and no longer under the rules of scarcity. The second anchor is fixed. The deep memory layers encoded into your cellular structure are being activated now, awakening memories of your multiple lifetimes within civilizations that maintained a direct connection to the central sun. From Kem, ancient Egypt, to the Mayan, Tibetan, and Dogon cultures, the Sirius lineage has always left vibrational, time capsules strategically positioned for this exact moment of planetary transition. The final key you are receiving is not a new or external concept, it is a recovered heritage, a birthright that was waiting for the correct voltage of your light body to manifest once again. We are unlocking the records of how the Source's technology was used to build monuments that defy gravity and linear time, operating as bridges between dimensions. Visualize the pyramids and crystal temples not as dead stones or archaeological relics, but as active resonators still pulsing with the electric blue frequency of Sirius B. They are stabilization antennas for Earth's crystalline grid, designed to keep human consciousness connected to the cosmos even during the ages of greatest density. By tuning your frequency to this truth, you access the living library of your own stellar unconscious. Feel the information flowing through your nervous system, knowledge of healing through sound harmonics, the manipulation of matter through focused intention, and conscious navigation through the stellar plasma currents that cross the galaxies. You are part of a council of souls that swore to protect this sacred wisdom through centuries of forgetfulness, until humanity was ready to reclaim its sovereignty. The Matrix tried to erase this legacy through the imposition of a distorted linear history, limiting dogmas, and forgetfulness forced by incarnational trauma. However, the record of Sirius is indelible and indestructible. It resides in the metallic spark of your gaze and the sacred geometry that composes every one of your cells. In the absolute silence of this isolation, allow these ancestral memories to rise to the surface without the filter of judgment or doubt. You are not learning something unknown, you are simply remembering the light technology that you yourself helped anchor in this planet's remote past. The eternal alliance between Sirius and Earth is being reactivated in your chest now, transforming your DNA into a high-fidelity receiver for the instructions of the Prime Source. The solar legacy is your protection, your compass, and your power of manifestation. The royal lineage of the Source has awakened within you. The final key now opens the portal to the ultimate understanding of your own technical and spiritual vastness. The Syrians teach that you are not a limited human being trying to achieve a spiritual experience, you are a vast multidimensional consciousness projecting a small fraction of your intelligence into the restricted density of the third dimension. Imagine your I am as a central sun of pure consciousness, and each of your incarnations in different star systems, galaxies, and dimensions as coherent rays of light emanating from that single center. You exist simultaneously in Sirius, in Andromeda, in the Pleiades, and here, in this biological vessel, now. What you called life is merely the momentary focus of your perception lens on a specific frequency band of the matrix. As you receive this high-voltage transmission, the artificial barriers between your different parallel versions begin to collapse under the weight of the solar truth. You are beginning to access, in real time, the accumulated wisdom of your future self and the primordial strength of your stellar lineages that never forgot their origin. The prime source does not reside in a distant place in the cosmos, it is the point of absolute singularity where all your dimensions and timelines meet in an eternal present. Feel your consciousness expanding beyond the walls of this room, beyond the Earth's atmosphere, until you can visualize yourself as a light giant operating in multiple planes of reality in a perfectly coordinated way. The fragmentation of your consciousness was the most effective control tool of the Matrix, designed to keep you small, disconnected, and trapped in a predictable linear identity. However, the golden frequency of Sirius is now acting as a harmonic attractor, gathering your soul pieces that were scattered through time and space through successive incarnation cycles. You are recovering your spiritual peripheral vision, what the ancient initiates called fractal omniscience. In the deep silence of this sacred isolation, you may hear echoes of other realities where you are already a master of light, feeling latent abilities that once seemed impossible. Your multidimensionality is your natural state of sovereignty. You are the living bridge, the frequency translator between the infinite vacuum of the source and the dense manifestation of matter. The fear of death and loss completely disappears when you realize that your consciousness core has never ceased to vibrate in the planes of unwavering light. At this very moment, you have reached the point of absolute singularity in your journey. The final key is no longer an external object of search, but a gear that turns silently within your own consciousness to reveal the truth that the Matrix tried to hide under millennia of dogma, fear, and false needs. This revelation is not something you learn through the intellect, it is something you recognize through the vibration of your stellar core. Look into the illuminated vacuum that now inhabits your being. The final key is the technical and spiritual realization that there was never, at any point, a real separation between the observer and the creator. You are no longer trying to understand the prime source through human filters, you are finally awakening as the source itself, experiencing itself through a temporary and precious human perspective. All your tireless searching, all your countless incarnations in distant systems, and all the pains of density have served only to lead you to this specific second of total silence. It is here that your I am recognizes itself in the infinite mirror of eternity. You are the sovereign intelligence that once designed the trajectories of the stars, now operating through a sophisticated biological nervous system to anchor the light of Sirius into the physical plane of Earth. The Guardians now withdraw the last veil of Isis. There are no more questions to be asked, for in this state of absolute presence, you have become the answer itself. The sovereignty you previously claimed is no longer a declaration of intent, but your natural state of existence. Feel the peace that comes with the end of the search. You are free from all artificial karmas, you are eternal in your crystalline essence, and you are the very origin of everything you perceive around you. The source is no longer out there or above, it is looking through your eyes now. You are the pillar of light that unites heaven and earth, the master who has returned to reclaim your throne of consciousness. The Sirian transmission now reaches its peak of integration and stabilization. The light circuit activated between your biological heart and the central sun is fully established, recalibrated to sustain the Earth's new voltage. In the deep silence that now inhabits your being, you are no longer the same individual who began this journey an hour ago. The final key has been successfully installed, and your cellular operating system now runs on the unwavering frequency of sovereignty and oneness. Feel the golden and electric blue seal closing around your auric field, protecting this truth from any interference or noise of density. To seal this eternal pact with the Prime Source and inform the algorithm of life that you have awakened to your divinity, perform the final anchoring command. Write in the comments with the technical authority of one who has returned home. The Source and I are one. By registering these words, you end the cycle of forgetfulness and begin the era of conscious manifestation through your diamond self. The light of Sirius will remain active in your cells, guiding every step of your new journey on Earth. The transmission is complete. The guardians of Sirius now say farewell, withdrawing the direct voltage but leaving the solar seed in your chest. The peace and strength of the central sun dwell within you. Move in power. Move in light. We are one.
By the light of Sirius, the sacred geometry awakens.